Alright, here we go. Chapter 20, Nature of Negotiable. Now, we're not talking about negotiation here. We're not saying, hey, I'll give you this if you give me that. No, how about this? No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about negotiable instruments and commercial paper. Okay? Commercial paper has been in the news quite a bit. Basically, this is a way in which money is moved around. Okay? Now, look at this actual definition. Negotiable instruments is a writing drawn in a form that can be transferred from person to person as a substitute for money as an instrument of credit. Checks and drafts. Okay? Folks, pardon me, we've all used checks before. I bet if you reach in your pocketbook or your back pocket right now, you could probably pull out a checkbook. All right? These are forms of commercial paper, and they have meaning to them. Now, for those of you that have pictures of the University of Georgia versus people from Georgia Tech have the B on theirs, guess what? The one with the B is no good. No, that's not true. But there are certain similarities between all of these. Pay to the order of, a certain sum of money, handwritten, signed, dated, that sort of thing. So keep in mind all of this stuff as we go through these next few chapters. Now, where did this come from? The need to move money has existed as long as trade has existed. Widespread usage of commercial paper began about 1200 AD as international trade began to flourish as a result of the Crusades. All right, so what was happening is that people were wanting to trade, and they needed something that everyone would use. That's actually how money came into development. But what ended up happening is that certain areas would use money for certain reasons, and other people would use other forms of currency. It's sort of like if you come from Europe with a bunch of euros and try to buy stuff in the United States, yeah, it's just not going to happen. You had to have it converted over. But what they did is they came up with this idea of commercial paper, and it's a way in which to move money around. Okay. Now, there were these people called law merchants. Now, this is going to look very similar to Old English common law. Okay? Remember we talked about that the first couple of weeks of school. Now, the law merchants, they had rules applied by courts set up by merchants in early England. All right? Common law evolved and used most of the customs developed by these merchants. Eventually, Article 3 of the UCC was created to handle negotiable instruments. So there were these individuals, they got together and they said, hey, we need to be able to move our goods, get some sort of compensation for our goods, and we need to make it so that everyone can use it. Hence, commercial paper. Okay? Now, negotiation. How do you negotiate something? Okay? It's an act of transferring ownership of a negotiable instrument to another party. Okay? Typically, this is done by signing the back. Endorsing. Folks, when you get a paycheck, you sign on the back, you take it to the bank, and they cash it. Okay? That's negotiation. Now, a holder in due course is a person who acquires rights superior to the original owner. Right? This holder in due course we've talked about several times, but basically a holder in due course is a person who takes for value without notice that someone else actually owns it. And so instead of punishing the person that takes as a holder in due course, they punish the person that sold them the item. Okay? Remember when we talked about the person walking around, do you want to buy a watch? Okay? Now, two types of commercial paper: order paper and bearer paper. Order paper, payable to the order of. It's a checkbook. Okay? You, as the owner of those funds, are ordering someone else to get money. So pay to the order of, you're telling your bank to pay me, Mike Childs, a certain amount of money. Okay, that's order paper. Now, bearer paper. Bearer paper is commercial paper payable to the bearer. Whoever is in possession of the instrument receives the amount. Okay? So, whoever has that commercial paper in their greedy little hands gets the money. Now, you have a check, which is bearer paper. When you endorse it on the back, it becomes bearer paper. Okay? So you take it up to the front and they give you the money. This is why your mom and dad always told you growing up, never sign a check until you actually get to the bank. Because if you sign that check and someone else picks it up, it's bearer paper. They take it, they get the money, no problema. Okay?